Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Capital Gains Tax Solutions podcast, where we believe most high net worth individuals and their professional teams struggle to find great capital gains tax deferral options. Not having a clear plan is the enemy, and using a proven tax deferral strategy such as the Deferred Sales Trust is the best way to exit your highly appreciated assets tax deferred so you can create, preserve, and grow your wealth. I'm your co-host, Pearson York, filling in for Brett Swarts. In each episode, I'm joined by some of the best wealth, business, leadership, and real estate individuals in the world to share ideas, deal stories, and inspiration so together we can make complex tax deferral strategies simple and passive income plans achievable. As always, we're streaming on expertcresecrets.com, the Capital Gains Tax Solutions YouTube channel, the Kingdom Luxury Realty YouTube channel, and the Kingdom Luxury Realty Facebook channel. And I'm super excited about our next guest. He's been in the financial services world for the last 22 years, started his own firm, and his niche is really finding money where people throw it away. And so I want to introduce Douglas Eze. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great, man. How you doing?
I'm doing super well, man. I'm excited to have you on the show. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah.
We were talking before a little bit about some real interesting stuff that I'm excited to get into. But before we do, tell us a little bit about your backstory. How'd you get to where you are?
Yeah, man. I'm originally from West Africa, Nigeria. I came to America at the age of 23. Then I got a job waiting table at IHOP, and someone gave me a business card while I was waiting the table, and they invited me to a business overview, and it happened to be in the financial service industry. And I went and checked it out, and I just saw people making money in this industry. I'm like, wait a minute, nobody talks about that, how much you could make in the financial service industry. So I jumped right in, and the first thing the lady told me was, listen, you got to get me a top 25 list. So I went on the metro station and just got on the metro rides and just started getting people to fill out a college education survey. And I brought all those names back, and she was blown away. She couldn't believe. She's like, man, how you get all these people? I said, well, you'll have a program where you help families go to college, right? Their kids. I said, yeah. I said, so I used that to talk to people about sending their children to college, and they were very interested in doing that. So that changed the game, and I went ahead and got my license in the financial service industry, and just started just doing it differently. And I worked with that company for a while, and then finally I decided to, jump out on my own and start my own company because I wanted to do something different. Because I always have questions about wealthy families. How do wealthy families operate? How are they able to keep wealth in the family for generations and generations and generations? And I'm like, well, I need to just study these people, because the companies I'm working with, they're just pushing me to sell mutual funds and stocks and sell a 401k plan. I'm sure that's not what wealthy families are doing, especially when there's a limit on how much you could put in a 401k. So that changed the game for me and opened up a lot of doors. And today we have one of the largest financial service, African American and female-owned independent marketing organization in the country, where we train a lot of financial advisors, insurance agents, just showing them a different way of thinking, and also how to help their clients well and serve their clients well. So that's what we do.
Awesome. There's a lot to unpack there, and then we'll get into it in a second. But before we do, I believe everyone has spiritual gifts or superpowers or strengths that have led them to be successful. So what are one or two strengths or spiritual gifts or superpowers that you have?
Yeah, man, just believing in God, most importantly, and staying focused, on anything you do, and just having the vision to make sure that, when you, visualize it, you put it to, and just speak it out and just go to work, and just having integrity with that to make sure that, what you say is what it is. You don't want to be a person that misleads people. So I believe in that 100%.
That's awesome. So having that focus to execute on the vision that the Lord's kind of just put in your heart. Sounds like, yeah. Well, hey, if you're on the Lord's path, there's no one stopping that one. So that's a superpower and a spiritual gift if I've ever seen one. So that's awesome. So you talked a little bit earlier about you studied the wealthy and how do they keep the money? Because I know there's this huge problem with the wealthy, and it's that they do not, a lot of them, what'll happen is the main entrepreneur, right, will create the wealth, right, and then they won't teach the children the same hard lessons they had to learn, right? There's an entitlement, a pride that comes in, right, and starts deteriorating, right? The second generation comes in and they don't necessarily squander it, but they don't necessarily grow it, and they kind of just maintain it, and they pass it on to the third generation, who's totally spoiled and just blows everything, right? And then the generations lose, and it's this vicious cycle. So is that something that you've also seen in the industries when you are talking to these people? Is that a concern?
Yes, major concern because, man, we work hard for our money as business owners, and and that's one thing when I was doing my research, because I wrote a book called Creating Generational Wealth, what the super wealthy will know that you need to know. So when I was doing the research and talking to some, wealthy folks, and start realizing there's some people that they do make a lot of money, but then their kids don't even have a clue what's going on.
Right.
And then I always ask the question, I say, so what do you want to happen to your business when you pass away? Well, I want my kids to take over the business. I said, well, are your children interested in your business? And then some of these kids, you ask them, they're like, nah, I want to do my own thing. So then there's a disconnect, because if you're building this wealth for your family and they're not interested in it, so what's the purpose of doing it? Well, I guess they could sell the business. That's okay. Well, if you want them to sell the business, have you put stuff in place to make sure that even when they do sell the business, they sell at a profit, not at a discount? And so those conversations are very crucial. And then, especially if they have like 2 or 3 kids, then we also want to know, what are the strengths of those 3 children that you have? What are their strengths? Which one of them do you believe can be the guy that is going to implement everything you want, that is going to run the business? So then I tell them, just start looking at your children correctly and paying attention to what they do. One might be a social media expert for you right now because the world is growing, right? One might be good at managing money, right? So when you look at Rockefeller, when he started his whole legacy, building his empire, one thing that, because he's in the oil business, right? But one of his sons wasn't interested in that business. And the son came to him and said, that I want to do something different. I want to go learn finance. And Rockefeller wasn't upset about it. He said, okay, go do that. That's what you want to do. And he supported him to do it. Man, that was the best decision Rockefeller ever made, by allowing his son to go focus on financial knowledge. And guess what? Because of that decision, today the Rockefeller name is still around. They're still the richest. They still got a lot of money, and they continue to grow their wealth every year round.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, what would you say then is the number one secret to keeping the generational wealth?
Controlling it from the grave, having different trust systems.
Dang. Okay. All right.
Having different trust systems in place. There's over 80 different types of trust in America, actually in the world, really. Yeah. So you have to have the right type that's going to make sure that everything you've built stays, and you can't feel guilty with decisions. Because my belief is this: when I'm dead and gone, right? But I need to make sure that if you're going to inherit what I left, you better pay attention and do exactly what I say, or else you're going to be kicked out. And it's very, very clear in my trust. If they're not paying attention, if they're not doing exactly what they want, they just get written off. They're out of the family business, because the family is a business. Now, of course, we'll still pay them some money, but we're paying them money to just stay away. If that's what you want to go blow the money, take, here's 100 grand every year, go do whatever you want to do. That's your life, your ruin. But you ain't gonna ruin the family legacy, because our children's children are depending on the decision I make today. So
that's so okay. So So we talked a little bit before about some different ideas, but I'm real curious about this concept that you just poked up. Is how do you control from the grave?
Yeah, so we as human beings, we as people, right? We're gonna die, right? That's like a given. We're dead and we're out of here. But the trust is a contract. It lives on forever. It's could live. It's a piece of paper. So if it's drawn correctly, it's gonna be here for a long time. Like when you look at all these wealthy individuals, all of them have non-profits. They have foundations. They have trusts. They have a lot of things in place. And when you look at the way they control their empire, and these people are dead and gone. Walt Disney, for example, he's been dead like how many centuries ago, but but his family still controls a lot of money. The Walmart family, when you look at all these families, you look on the Forbes list, all the families are on that list. Well, there's a reason for that, because they were able to create a situation where that contract determines how everybody's going to operate. And then one thing that a lot of people miss is the foundation of wealth building, which is life insurance, because that's a big part that a lot of people miss out on. Yeah, we want to leave real estate and all this stuff, but life insurance itself is the only vehicle, one, that will do exactly what you want it to do. The only financial vehicle that will do exactly what you want it to do. So what do I mean by that? Well, first, if I want to leave millions of dollars to my family, life insurance is the fastest and easiest way to do that, because I'm buying a dollar with a penny. So how much of that dollar do I want to buy? As much as I can afford, right? So I get it. And then at the same time, using it as a place to park money, because a lot of times we think about a bank, which is one thing I talk about a lot of regarding where you park your money, wealth transfers. Every dollar we lose, that's a wealth that we're transferring away from our children and our children's children. So if I put a dollar in a bank, and that same bank is only paying me, disrespecting me, paying me 0.1% interest rate,
Right.
I'm losing off the get-go. So I rather use my money twice, take the same dollar, put in life insurance, get a death benefit. If I die, they pay out my family immediately, tax-free. And then that dollar is also earning interest that I could leverage later down the line to use in investing in real estate, investing in businesses, and all that stuff to continue to grow the family legacy. Just in case I mess around and die, that money comes in. Life insurance is like the infusion of cash into the family business. So the children can now take that cash to continue growing the vision.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so so you like the infinite banking concept, right? I mean, maybe it's not coined that or whatever, but the
Yeah, yeah,
concept is the same, right? You buy into the life insurance policy that you can, borrow against later, right? You become your own bank.
Yep.
And then you get your death benefit when you die, you cash free, tax free, and you're able to use it though while you're alive to do your things. So that's obviously a huge like part of the estate planning, right? But what we talked a little bit about some foundation, some charitable foundations and that type of thing. Unpack that. How do those work, and how are they beneficial?
Yeah, definitely. So I always say this: my clients make a lot of money giving away money.
Okay.
So make money giving away money. So there's different types of charities. There's different types. There's a public charity, and then there's what they call a private foundation. Now,
Okay.
a public charity is basically the Salvation Armies, a lot of the public charities. But then the private family foundation, which they have two types of private family foundation. There's an operating and there's a non-operating. And then there's what they call a grant making foundation, which is the one we like to focus on, that because the grant making foundation, we're giving away grants, we're giving money away, right, to other charities. We support other charities. So what does that mean? Well, in return, there's a benefit for that. The benefit is because you're giving away money and you're supporting public charities, the government allows you to now use the money in that foundation to continue to grow the foundation, which means the foundation can invest in businesses. It can own shares in companies, equity ownership. Most people don't know that the foundation can do that because they think about a public charity. And of course, you have to be at a certain level of wealth to be able to set it up. But then at the same time, a foundation can also own real estate investment, own properties. You know, because, and then if it's set up as a trust, which is another level where we set the foundation up as a trust, takes it to a whole new level. Now you don't need a board. It's just the trustee controls the foundation, and then it doesn't have to pay capital gain tax. So it could flip properties every day and doesn't have to pay capital gain tax. And in some counties, it doesn't have to pay property tax.
Interesting. So the concept is to set up a foundation, right, that supports other foundations. So you set up a private foundation within that, and then you have a trust that's able to do essentially a nonprofit business trust of some sorts that's ordered to that you can use in order to support the other 501c3s out there that are just tax deductible, and then on top of that you can use it to invest in certain types of assets.
Yes, so it's so when you set up a nonprofit, there's three ways you could set it up. You could set up as an LLC, a corporation, or S corp, and then a trust. Most people don't know about the trust is actually a business, has its own entity, has a tax ID, all that. So you could set up that way too. But unfortunately, most don't know how to do it. So it's only unique kind of people that do it, and we happen to know those people that do those type of situation because it does cost money. It's not an inexpensive situation, it does, and it's what the price basically.
So what do you think is the the biggest frustration with the ultra high net worth individuals and their capital gains tax problems? Like, what do you think is the biggest problem?
Yeah, the circle that they're in. It's all about who's in your circle of knowledge. Right? If your circle of knowledge is the same circle that you had when you were growing your wealth, and you never grew past that, and you never left that circle to go seek more knowledge, then yes, you will have certain problems because there's what they call the informed and the uninformed. I always say this: America is the best tax haven in the world. A lot of people look at me like, "What? We paying?" No, this country is so good. That's why I love America, man, because I don't know why people complain all day long. I said, go leave it outside and see what's going on. First off, the first thing when you know a country is strong, right, is the amount of money the U.S. government spends on defense.
Yeah.
Just that alone should give you peace of mind, knowing there ain't no bomb coming in here, somebody bombing you. Why? So people, so I just sit and watch. I'm a immigrant from Africa. I came here, so I know how they treat how people roll over there. But coming in and becoming a citizen, I just love the country, and I understand the fact that, listen, if you put your mind to the ground and you work hard and you do what you're supposed to do and you learn the system, then a lot of doors open up for you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's I was talking to another friend of mine on the show the other day, and he was saying that it's like 4 pages in the whole IRS code that's like actual tax, what you got to pay, and then the other 12 million pages or whatever it is like all about incentives on how to do business and not have to pay them. So it's just a shift in the mindset, right? Like, yeah, we don't want to pay taxes, right? That we don't have to pay. I'm okay with paying the taxes I'm obligated to paying, of course, right? Like, we just want to make sure they're being good stewards of our resources, of course. But there's a lot of incentives out there and a lot of different ways that you can play the game.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the tax code is huge, but again, the same people that wrote the code also wrote a loophole to the code, right? So there's always that. So the key is not, not to pay taxes. Yeah, you want to pay your fair share of taxes. We just don't want to be giving away tips.
Right.
If I go to a restaurant, they told me, and they make it easy. You look on the receipt, they tell you, okay, your tip is 20%, 15%. It's up to you. If you want to give 40%, the waitress ain't going to say, well, you overpaid, right, and give you back your money, right? She's not going to do that. She'll say, thank you. And you're like, man, why is she thanking me so much? Well, because you...
I've never heard it explained that way, and it's brilliant, and I'm taking it for sure. It's tips. We don't want to be paying tips, just our bill.
Yeah, just pay what you're supposed to pay, man.
They didn't serve us that great.
Yeah. Exactly. So and the IRS is a collection agency. That's
Yeah.
really they collect money. So in 1913, when the IRS the taxes was introduced to America, they introduced two tax systems. Basically, a system for the wealthy and a system for everyone else. But the wealthy that they introduced a system for, you got to be informed,
Right.
not the uninformed wealth. The uninformed wealthy are the ones that are looking for Cayman Island escapes and offshore banking and spending all this money to go outside the country to go put money. The ones that are informed keep the money right in the United States. And a lot of other wealthy families from all over the world, they bring their money to the US. And a lot of people have no clue. That's why America, the security is tight. Just think about it. If you have all your money in your house right now, how much
Yep.
security are you going to have outside your door? A lot.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea, because I've talked to a bunch of different people who are, deploying strategies to go to Puerto Rico and that type of thing, and just transferring funds, and the strategy doesn't suck,
Yeah.
from what they got going on, but I mean it's definitely a different animal altogether. So then, so with that being said, right, we talked a little bit before the show about the deferred sales trust, and kind of like what that can do. I'm curious, have you used the deferred sales trust before, or
No,
have
no,
you
I'm
heard
not.
of it?
I'm not familiar with it. But it sounds like you're deferring taxes to the future.
Yeah, so basically, I mean, what you can do is, typically, like, obviously you're familiar with the 1031, right? So,
Yes.
like, let me ask you this: like, what are some of the biggest challenges that you see with the 1031?
Yeah. I mean, you have to buy a like investment. So if I sell a house right now and I don't want to pay the capital gain tax, I have to purchase another property that's of the same value or whatever the case might be. So sounds good. I mean, that's the simplest way to put it, right?
Right,
Now, so I get it. But what if I don't want to buy another house? What if I want to take my money? Then I gotta pay that capital gain tax. So
right.
one thing that I teach is this, if the house is paid off, why not donate it to a foundation that you control?
I like that.
You donate it to the foundation, before you sell it, now the foundation sells the house, you don't have to worry. And guess what? All that money goes back to the foundation, tax free.
That's an interesting idea.
Now you
So,
still have control of the money in that foundation
and
because
then
they're the
you would
trustee.
basically set up the foundation inside the foundation. You would set up a business trust that's you're able to con-
Yeah, not a business trust, but the foundation itself is a trust itself.
okay.
It's a little bit different from what most people are familiar with. So it's structured as a trust itself, and
Okay.
it gets to do certain things that but whatever you do it in the name of the foundation. You're not doing it outside of the foundation. You're
Of
not
course.
buying, you're not taking the money from the foundation to go buy yourself a house or whatever. Because we are gonna die. What's his name? Rockefeller has a favorite quote, right? And everybody quotes it. Says, "Own nothing, control everything."
Yeah.
Own nothing, control everything. So that goes a long way when you look at things. Who owns that property? Because the thing is, when you look at yourself owning that property, then you're subject to lawsuit, taxes, all the stuff that comes with that. People could sue you and take the stuff from you. But if another entity owns it, but you just happen to control that entity, then it's a little bit different ball
Yeah,
game.
absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that's one of the best kind of segues into like the deferred sales trust. And essentially what we do with the deferred sales trust is you can sell an asset, any asset. It doesn't, probably just like the foundation trust that you're setting up, probably very similar actually. You sell any asset that's highly appreciated, and you're able to defer all the tax on the sale of the asset, and then invest it in whatever you want. So unlike the 1031, you don't have the like kind restrictions, you don't have the time constraints, right? you can almost use it like a self-directed IRA account, where you can invest it into, stocks, real estate, businesses, hard money lending, notes, whatever. You can reinvest it in whatever. You don't actually have to set up a foundation. So I don't know how much setting up a foundation costs. Is it?
Yeah, I mean, it does cost. It's not, it's not some that, because if it was inexpensive, everybody would have it, right?
Right.
So so it does cost a good amount. I mean, it could go anywhere from 50 to 300-400 grand, just depending on the person's situation.
Of course.
What they're looking to do, but there's benefits to everything. I mean, which is why all the wealthy families have one. Rockefeller Foundation. I mean, you want to be wealthy, you got to follow what the wealthy people are doing. It's just that simple. Bill Gates Foundation, they own 4. So there's benefits to it, and they still do a lot of good in the world, right?
Right.
Family, it's not just setting up and enjoying. The whole purpose is to still use the money and do some great things that you want to do to still leave something behind. And it falls into a lot of things when you start looking at nonprofits. Why is that so important? Well, because if you look at, like, for example, student loans, right? So many people have student loans, but they don't realize there's some student loans that you actually have forgiveness programs, right? Where you could go work in a nonprofit and your student loan is forgiven. So what are nonprofits? Well, a lot of hospitals are nonprofit, but they make a lot of money. NFL is a nonprofit. University schools are nonprofit. Museums are nonprofit. So when you go into all those things, you see all those nonprofits, and then there's a second twist to that called endowments. That's another world totally that most people don't even have understand. You go to the hospital, you see the donor walls, you see all the families with pictures on the walls. If you Google right now, John Hopkins University Endowment Fund, you see how much money is in that endowment fund. It's not just sitting in a bank catching dust. They invest those monies in alternative investments. They're not putting in the stock market to lose money. They invest those monies in things that's going to give them a guaranteed return, double-digit guaranteed returns. In some cases, they even buy what they call life settlements, which is another level of investment that most people are not familiar with, which is basically like buying somebody's life insurance. A lot of people don't know. People sell their life insurance. The government love it. The seniors love it because the seniors don't have to lose in giving up their life insurance cash value. They could sell it at a profit and go take care of themselves if they're sick. They want to go to the hospital, but they have a life expectancy. So it's like a real estate transaction. Most people don't realize that just the same way you sell a house, you could sell your life insurance policy too.
Whoa. I did not know that.
So
I'm learning a lot here.
Yeah, I mean, so there's a lot of investments, and wealthy families use those things to grow the wealth. And for example, with the endowment, when you look at a hospital, a university, or let's look at one of the big universities, right? They teach Japanese language, like in Harvard, right? Harvard. They teach Japanese language. Why is Harvard interested in teaching Japanese language? Why would they care about that? Well, because somebody bought a chair. A wealthy person, probably a Japanese guy, bought a chair, put a professor to say, listen, if you want to learn Japanese, go to Harvard, pay the fee, and you can learn the language. In the meantime, his family is getting paid from all the students that register in that class. And it goes to their foundation. It's not coming to yes.
So where's the limit? When you start this, what's your net worth got to be before you can start thinking about, okay, foundations, that type of issue?
I mean, so one thing that we do first is we look at the financial profile of someone and see exactly where they're at. And then we send it off to the attorneys. They look at it and they come back. They actually Google the people to see who they really are. Who are this person? Who is this person, right? And then they come back and say, okay, based on what their situation is, they're qualified to, get tapped into this world, because it's a different world to be in, especially when you're at that level. But I mean, anyone, with millions of dollars, they qualify, that want to protect their asset. You've never heard anybody sue a foundation, a non-profit before, right? You know,
Yeah, I didn't know. I haven't
you
deep
don't
dive into that one yet.
exactly. You don't sue someone that's doing good in the world, helping people, taking care of folks, poor people, doing the things, supporting other charities. Why are you suing them for? It doesn't make any sense. I mean, no judge is going to take that court case. I mean, and say, man, you're suing a foundation. What did they do wrong to you? What did they do to you?
Yeah. So you got to have at least what, like 10, 15, 20 million kind of like in net. You got to be it sounds like you got to be above that 22.5, whatever it is, million for the net
Sometimes
worth.
it could be lower, actually.
Yeah.
So it just depends on assets and stuff, and income. So it make so we've seen different range of people, and so from in my case, I just have to see what the experts tell us.
Right.
Because there's some people that might have it, but they don't have a lot of things that they need to be protected. Because the first things first is to make sure that the protection is in place. Because we got to protect what we work hard for. We work hard for our money. And then the next thing is to make sure we teach our children the importance of giving, which is the whole purpose of the whole foundation nonprofit, right? They got to
Yeah.
know how to give. We got to be willing to give, so that's important. So once they understand that, and then, other things, there's a whole interview process that goes on, to kind of identify, and the heart of the people. It's not for, if you're not willing to help people, then there's no point, because that's the whole purpose we live. We make money to help people,
Yeah.
to help the poor, to help the folks that we're supposed to help. Not, I don't mean just giving away charity money. I don't do that. I just mean we help folks that want to help themselves, not lazy people.
Yeah, no, that makes that makes a lot of sense. And the reason why I asked that is because it seems like an amazing strategy, right? Like you set up yourself, a foundation that's you're able to basically leverage, and you don't have to technically own it, but you can you can control it, right? It's probably outside the taxable estate at that point.
It is.
Yeah, so there's good like estate planning and whatnot. And it just seems like it's good for us. Like you got to hit a number that's, relatively up there. And I'm gonna do a shameless plug here, but one of the benefits of the deferred sales trust is the qualifications are $1 million proceeds and a $1 million gain. And the reason why is because you got to have enough pain to kind of go through the with the tax issue to want to learn about that, and so on and so forth. So if you're not at that if you're not at that threshold, right, where it doesn't make sense, this could be a good strategy, because what you can do is you can sell the asset, defer all the tax, invest it, right, and then once you've reached that threshold, then you can use your trust to set up a foundation and fund the foundation and take the write-offs with the trust. There's a whole bunch of cool stuff you can do, that would be probably really, really beneficial for those people. So, and it also moves assets outside the taxable estate. So you do avoid that 40% death tax, and so on and so forth. And you guys can learn more about the Deferred Sales Trust at capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. We also have a mastermind every Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, which, Doug, I totally invited you to already. So you can come and check it out. You actually would add a lot of value with some of the ideas that you brought forth today, because those are some ideas that I haven't really considered or didn't really know about. Like I had no idea you could sell your life insurance policy.
Yeah.
Like,
I'll give you this. Warren Buffett puts $600 million every year buying life insurance. Blackstone in 2014, they spent $1 billion buying life insurance.
It's a lot of life insurance.
People's life insurance that sold their policies. That's a market people don't know. It's the best, because think about it. You're buying life insurance, somebody's gonna die eventually.
Right.
And most times they check them out, they see they see the life expectancy. It might be 3 or 4 years. And during COVID, a lot of these companies made a lot of money. Even banks put a lot of money in institutions. So, we design stuff like this for institutions, companies, because I have a very strong relationship with my mentor that actually owns companies that supply those things to people. So, so when the right opportunity comes for people that say, you know what, I want another asset class to pack money. I'm tired of buying all this real estate. I want to buy something else that I know for a fact. Because remember, insurance companies are the richest in the world.
Yeah.
The richest in the world. It's the U.S. life insurance company alone have more assets than all the world banks combined.
Wow.
So first, you're buying an asset that is backed by the strongest companies in the world, because they ain't failing. They ain't going nowhere. Second, it's going to pay out. Death is going to happen somehow, some way. So those things exist. I just did research to understand it. I kept seeing commercials. I'm like, what is this? Why am I keep seeing all these commercials? Being in the financial industry, I didn't want, and which is why I got rid of my securities license, because I'm like, I want to be able to open up my mind, my circle of knowledge, not just to be captured in one thing, pushing one product, selling one thing. I need to be able to see what are the wealthy doing. If I want to build wealth for my family, I need to know what these wealthy families are doing. And when I saw how much money Warren Buffett puts in life insurance, I'm not talking about insurance on his life, because I don't know what he has, but I know how much life insurance he's buying.
Yeah.
He's buying it like real estate.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah. So it's not, you're buying the real estate or the life insurance on people who are going to die soon. So you're going to get paid out on their death benefit, and you're going to give them, a percentage of whatever their life insurance policy is, whatever they paid for it, right? Plus a premium. And then but it's going to be less than what the death benefit is. So then now once they die in the next 2 years, right, or 3 years or whatever it is, right, then you're getting paid out that death benefit that's tax free, and then you're doing around, you're flipping it again. It's freaking brilliant. I didn't put that together, before, but you opened my eyes. So definitely something I'm going to look into.
Yeah, man.
But anyway, so yeah, that's the type of value you guys can get on the mastermind over there, because Doug is going to hop on here at 10 a.m. 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern.
I was wondering. I was like, what is that? I'm like, I accepted it because I commit first and figure it out later. I'm like, see, okay, somebody's inviting me to a mastermind. I don't even know. I'm like, did they put any instructions? Okay, nothing. All right, well, no problem. I'll accept it. I'll see. But all good. Yeah, man.
Yeah, absolutely. You'd be a fantastic asset on there. So anyways, and if you guys want to connect with Doug, you guys can connect with Doug at largofinancialservices.com, LargoFinancialServices.com, Largo Financial Services, or connect with him on Instagram, on the IG, on the interwebs, right? I got my little view thing at I am Douglas Eze.
Yes.
I am Douglas Eze, and that's spelled Eze.
Yep. And just watch me do, I post good videos on, talking about things people need to know. And then I also show my lifestyle, how I'm living, things I'm doing. So, it's not just business, just see, you get to know me, right?
Yeah,
because if you don't know me, you can't do business with me. Know me, see if you like what you see. And then if you get excited and you want to jump in and do business with me, no problem. Just tap in. And also own a technology company. So we developed a tech company, me and my business partner, two devices we have. It's global. One is a service provider app called Sebenza, Sebenza.me, Sebenza.me, to provide jobs to a lot of folks in countries, entrepreneurs that normally nobody can find, right? So for example, think about it. You go on a trip right now, even from here to, let's say you want to go to Vegas, and you're like, man, I need a haircut. What barber shop should I go to? And you're like, man, I don't know anybody in Vegas. I don't know what salon to go. You could get you could get on an app and find a barber that's 25 miles radius around your hotel and book them based on the reviews you see. And then what we've done is given the power to those entrepreneurs to be able to set their prices. You want a driver instead of Uber, you could go and pick a private driver and say, listen, I want you to wait for me. I'm going to be in a meeting for the next 2-3 hours. I don't want to come out and start looking for another Uber. Just park and wait for me. How much do you charge? And he says, okay, I'll charge you for each hour. I'll charge you whatever his fee is. And then he could wait for you while you're doing your meeting so you don't come back out. I had a client one time, they travel a lot, they do clinical research. And they went to a city here in America, I think somewhere in Illinois, I don't know. But they couldn't find Uber to get to the airport, and they almost lost their flight. They had to beg the people, please take me back to the airport. Can you help me? That's crazy. I could have had a driver waiting on. So that's why we develop our app, and we're not advertising, we've not done any investors. All we did, we say, we want to give power to the people, and have them make money off of the app by just referring people to it. That's awesome.
Absolutely. And you can find out more about that at Sebenza.com.
Sebenza.me. Somebody took
Sebenza.me.
Yeah, .me. So they take the other one, we get a me.
Gotcha. You got a me in there. Cool. All right. Well, Doug, it was an absolute pleasure interviewing you, man, and just picking your brain and just diving in. And I just appreciate your time. And any parting words?
Yeah, let's keep doing good work, keep working hard, and keep saying positive about America, man. America is the greatest country in the world. I love it.
Absolutely.
I ain't going nowhere.
Awesome. All right. And thanks again, everyone, for listening to another episode of the Capital Gains Tax Solutions podcast. As always, we believe most high net worth individuals and those who help them struggle with clarifying their capital gains tax deferral options. Not having a clear plan is the enemy, and using a proven tax deferral strategy is the best way to create, preserve, and grow your wealth. Please rate, review, subscribe. Doug, thanks again. We'll see you on the mastermind, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. We'll see you guys.